you guys having a good day so far?
Junior!
Exactly, me. Everybody having a good time? Enjoying this Friday? Man, I tell you what.
I tell you what.
I tell you, man, I tell you what.
All right.
I tell you what. A lot of conventions, when they have a Friday, they look around and say to each other, well, what are you going to do to fill? Yeah, what are you going to do to fill the time? We're just going to throw, glitter on a turd, roll it out there, and call it a show. Not us.
No.
We don't just put glitter on the turds.
Nope.
We go above and beyond.
That's it.
And sorry, Jason. We don't need it though. It's the wrong. Okay, fine. Always need cowbell. The old cowbell handoff. You know what I'm saying?
Can't have this next guest without.
I tell you what, you go into the wrong place and ask for the cowbell handoff, you will not be playing a musical instrument. A whole different thing happens. You don't want to know what it is. I ain't gonna tell you because I don't want to get canceled before lunch.
Rich, this next guest has it in his contract that he won't come out without a cowbell.
Without a cowbell handoff?
Yeah, without a cowbell handoff.
He did start in the 70s. That makes sense. Ladies and gentlemen, we love this next guy. I love this next guy because it enables me to do this thing I'm about to do, Billy. You know what I'm saying? Like usually it's a band, but this is my time to shine.
Oh yeah.
Because as far as I'm concerned, out of any character, just almost on any television show, but certainly in Supernatural, he had the best character intro of all time. I mean, cinematically, the coolest thing I've ever seen. Still, when I go back and watch the clip, you're like, good Lord, it's beautifully shot, it's well done. And what makes it so special, aside from his performance and the cinematic artistry on display, is this. Julian to the stage. Julian Richings, everybody! Oh yeah. Cars for kids. 187 cars for kids. Julian to the stage. You're right there.
Wow! Thank you for the best ever convention intro.
I warned, so Julian's I warned him because he's a professional and he expects a high level of professionalism, and I had to let him know that wouldn't be happening today. I said instead we're gonna take the very low bar and bury it.
Wow, it was spectacular.
Underwhelming is the word.
You did get cowbell though.
Yeah, you did. The old cowbell handoff happened.
Yeah,
so.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Julian Richings.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. All right. Well, the energy is pulsating after that. Good to see you all. Hello, Chicago. Hi. Oh, I've even got a seat. It's no good because I fidget too much. I'll try and be calm and collected. Oh, it moves too. Ooh, that's kind of interesting. Okay, I don't trust that. When you go on stage, but more on film, when you have props, I always go to the prop and I make sure that I can use it, because I'm guaranteed to mess it up, right? So everybody says, yeah, it's foolproof. Yeah, it's fine. But I said, but is it actor-proof? And I don't think this is actor-proof, or at least not this actor-proof. Anyway, something will happen. Anyway, so here I am in Chicago. So good to be here. How many of you from Chicago, in the area around Chicago? A lot of you. Well, I have particularly fond memories of this city. I first came here in 1980 on tour with a theater company. And I was hosted by two companies, Remains Theatre and Steppenwolf Theatre, were together at that time. They were sort of coexistent sister companies. And I put on a show. I came from the UK, and we put on a show that was a touring show, and had a great time. Met a lot of great people, really talented people. And in fact, I was really tempted to stay here, but I fell in love in Toronto. So I went to another city with a great lake, and I live in Toronto permanently. So I have very fond memories of Chicago, and also it's the only US city that I've stayed for some time, and I shot a series here called Patriot. Any of you know Patriot? It's great, it's a wonderful show. Not enough people know about it because it didn't get a lot of hoopla and buzz, but it's a really great show. So check it out at some point. It's on Amazon. And one of my biggest memories was that I was at the hotel and I got picked up taken to set. And a driver pulls up, and he's a really friendly guy, and he goes, "Hey, I'm Bab." I go, "Oh, great. Hi, I'm Julian." And I'm thinking, Bab? No, Bab. Short for Barbara? Bab. Anyway, so I'm going, and then a few minutes later, we're driving along, and he goes, "Wow, it's hot. Bab's hat." So I'm thinking, oh, it's Bab. That's how he speaks. It's Bob isn't hot, Bab's hat. So anyway, that was my first introduction close up to a Chicago, well, that's a very bad impersonation of a Chicago accent. But I really did fall in love with the way that he spoke, especially. He had this really strong thing going on. That's it, really. Okay, see ya. So no, I'm here to answer questions. I see people are, oh my goodness me, people are lining up. And why don't we start, and then I'll sort of talk my way through questions and stuff. Let me go over here first. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
My question is, what's one of your favorite memories from the set of Kingdom Hospital?
Oh wow, another show that I have fond memories. Anybody know Kingdom Hospital? Anyone here? Yeah. Stephen King's Kingdom Hospital. It was on ABC, I think about, 20 years ago? It's a long time ago. Just before The Sopranos came out on HBO. And The Sopranos kind of changed television because that was pay TV and you could binge watch. Like you could see it right the way through, and it sort of created the idea of a serious story arc going all the way through with a whole bunch of different characters and side issues and stuff, but never losing the thread, right? Well, Stephen King writes that way, and he wrote this great show called Kingdom Hospital, and it had all these narrative threads and weird, creepy animals all in the place of a hospital. And I really enjoyed it, but unfortunately, it was on regular TV, so it sort of, you'd see 3 minutes, and then an ad would come in, and then you'd see another 5 minutes, and then another ad would kick in. So it wasn't until it got onto DVD that I think people actually started to appreciate it. And it didn't do very well on the network because people couldn't really follow it. Like it kept getting interrupted and stuff. And it really would have done better, I think, if it had originally been on a pay TV station. Anyway, that's a long introduction. What was my experience? Well, I play this very short-sighted security guard named Otto. And Otto has these really thick glasses that make his eyes really big. And believe me, you can't see out of them at all. So I put them on, and I couldn't see a thing. So somebody came up with the idea, I know what we'll do. We'll give you corrective contact lenses so that the contact lenses cancel out the effect of the magnification of the glasses. So I'm not very good with contact lenses anyway. So, you know, pushing around like this. Somebody put the contact lenses in, couldn't see. Then they put the glasses on top of me, and then everything started to go. And I could see, like, day one of the shoot, the producers were all looking at each other going, who is this guy? Is he going to survive the episode? because I was like, I had to sit down because my vision was going. It was terrible. So anyway, that was my most embarrassing memory of starting the show, getting used to those glasses. So then in the end, all we did was we took the contacts out. I did the rehearsals in an ordinary pair of glasses, and then for the actual shoot, I put the glasses on because it didn't matter that I couldn't see very well because my character couldn't see very well, so that was okay. Anyway, so that's my main memory. Other than that, one of the highlights was meeting Stephen King, because he played one of the janitors for one episode, and it was just a great show. It was, I like spooky shows, have you noticed? So that was one of them, and yeah, I had a good time. So thanks for mentioning it. Thank you. All right, I'm going to go over here now. Hello.
Hello. I was wondering if there was a part that you would have liked to have tried out for or consider, like a superhero or a romance comedy or something different than spooky.
Superhero. I like the idea of me being a superhero or a romantic lead. Darling, come for a walk along the beach. You know, with all the music in the background. Well, I've never gone for, like, just because of who I am and what I look like, I've always been given those sort of outsider roles, I guess you would call them, or genre roles, and I've embraced them and I've enjoyed them. I really have. I have more fun than most people on set because I'm not trying to sort of keep my good looks or make sure that you know, I don't have to be too serious, and I enjoy that. I must admit, and as our industry generally, I think it would be nice to subvert the idea of what's a romantic lead and what's a superhero and what's a bad guy. Like, it would be nice to have all the pretty people being horrible. Well, I guess you have with Succession, right? I guess you've got that very pretty, very rich people being quite awful, right? So you've sort of got a switch there. But on the other hand, it would be nice to sort of change things up a bit on the front of, like, people that we normally say, oh, they're character actors, to say, well, no, they're ordinary people. Ordinary people are characters. That's my little rant. But personally, I don't mind. I don't kind of go, oh, if only I could play that role. I'm more sort of happy to be surprised when somebody says, we would like you to play such and such a character. And the challenge and the surprise of that, for me, is what keeps me going. Because it's not something that I've created in my own mind that I would be suitable for. It's something that somebody else has thought that I might try. And I always try to get to that point, right? It's a weird sort of answer, but there you go. That's all I'm doing. Okay, thank you. Thanks very much. Okay, hi.
Hi. So I recently went to go see Beau is Afraid and was pleasantly surprised to see your face. So I just wanted to know, like, how it was working with Joaquin Phoenix and just being on an A24 movie.
All right, well, so this is another movie. We're all talking about things other than supernatural. It's kind of cool. So I'm in the latest Ari Aster film called Beau is Afraid. 2 hours and 59 minutes. Is that right? Yeah. And you stayed awake. Very good. I'm in about 2 hours. You know, like, you have to stay awake for about 2 hours, and I come in for about 10 minutes, and then I go away again. So you could set an alarm clock, if you like. But no, seriously, that makes it sound like it's a boring movie. It's not at all. I think it's a wonderful movie. But the thing about it is that Ari Aster, the film director who directed Hereditary and Midsommar, for A24, has done his third movie called Beau is Afraid, starring Joaquin Phoenix, and it has a lot of really great actors in it. I'm honored to be asked to, I'm in it as well as a sort of a character that appears kind of incidentally but quite important in what I do. I had a great time. I mean, it's always an honor for me. part of my job, it goes back to the previous question, is there anything that you would like to do? The joy for me is the surprise of being on a set with actors, some of whom are really famous and some of whom aren't, but who are really good. And Joaquin Phoenix is one of those actors that everybody recognizes as being really good, and he is really good. And so you have to raise your game. You know, if you're working as a character actor that just comes in for 10 minutes in a movie, and you have to act in a scene with a guy that's on this huge emotional journey, and you have to match that, you have to come in, it's like going from 0 to 100, it's a huge challenge. You know, I can't just kind of come in and go, hey, how you doing, Whack? You know, is it good? You know, like I got to come in and go, wham, you know, 0 to 100. And for me, that really flexes my muscles and it really keeps me going as an actor. And I had a great time because he is so in the moment that he's really there. There's no sort of ego or anything stopping him. Very much like the boys, actually, in Supernatural. He's very generous. So when you're working with actors like that, they bring out your performance more. So yeah, so it's also fun being part of a movie that's kind of very current and getting a lot of attention and a lot of mixed responses. Some people love it, absolutely love it, and some people hate it. And you go, well, if that's the case, that's probably a good thing. And I have a feeling it's one of those movies where in maybe a year or two, it will be looked back on as being really a masterpiece. But we'll see. Only time will tell. Thank you. Thanks very much. Hello. Hello.
Hi. My question is, if you could be in any Shakespearean play, which would you be?
Shakespearean play. Wow, there's all this stuff. Well, I guess my favorite Shakespeare... Well, so it's a funny question. As a younger actor, used to sort of think of Shakespeare and think about what characters I would play, and I've suddenly realized I'm one of the old guys now. So I've got all these auditions that I used to do as a younger actor, like Edmund in King Lear, thou nature art my goddess, and to thy law my services abound. You know, all blah, 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 blah. But I realized that, wait a minute, that's for somebody that's basically my grandson. You know, I can't play that person anymore. So now I start to change my focus too with the characters that I would play. The great role is King Lear, the great role for an older actor. I don't know if I am a King Lear. I don't walk and talk, and I'm not regal. I'm sort of more an everyman, right? And that's the reality, that's who I am. So I don't know, maybe in a King Lear I could be Gloucester, who is his attendant, who gets his eyes taken out, by the way. But, yeah, I don't know. I'll have to reconsider all the old grey heads and grey beards of Shakespeare now and figure that out. But nice question, thank you. All right.
Good morning, Julian.
Hello.
Hello. I may or may not have screamed your cameo on Doom Patrol, so thanks for that. And I'm one of the 2 people in the auditorium that loved The Patriots. It was just
great.
Beautifully shot and directed and was just brilliant. So sad that it was canceled. You talked about it a little bit. I was wondering if you had any experiences that you wanted to share about the director, or if you knew what your character's story arc was going to be.
Patriot? Gladly. So Patriot, it's one I mentioned before, it's on Amazon. The showrunner, writer, director, Steve Conrad from Chicago. We shot the pilot in Montreal, Canada, a long time ago when Amazon was first doing a bunch of new series, including, what's it, Maisie, the Marvelous Maisie? At the same time, same period as that, there were about 6 scripts, and we were all asked to do a pilot episode, and viewers, this was early days of Amazon streaming, right? The most successful would go into a series. Well, Patriot and the, what's it called? Thank you. That one, it's a mouthful. can you imagine me trying to learn lines? I can't even remember titles of movies. Anyway, those two were taken up by Amazon. Our one was, and then Steve Conrad moved it, because he's from Chicago and he had a very specific idea visually of what he wanted to do. He brought it here, and we shot the first season here and the second season in Paris, France. And I had just the most wonderful time, because he's one of those guys that is a showrunner and inspiration and just good guy who knew what he wanted to say, knew what the tone of the story was, but then began to adapt it according to the characters that he was working and living with. And so I started it off, and I felt that he was beginning to understand what my contribution was to the show and started to write specifically for me in the way that I could say stuff. So my characters started to blossom a little bit. And I was in the company of great character actors, people like Kurtwood Smith. Do you guys know him? He's from that 70s show. He's Red. You know, he's a wonderful, wonderful actor. And our industry is so full of actors like him. Terry O'Quinn from Lost, do you know Terry? Those kind of actors who you kind of go, oh, they're not sort of superstars, but you turn on the TV and you see them and you go, they're amazing. Like, they've got this whole track record. And I was proud to be a part of that with a lot of people who sort of weren't used to being the central story. They were used to having like lots of little cameos, and it was just a blast. And the humor in it is just appealed to me. It's very deadpan, it's very funny, but it's kind of tragic too. There's a lot of pathos in it. So I really enjoyed it, and I recommend you check it out. Thanks for the ad. All right. Hi.
So this is my first SPN Con. I'm going to actually ask you a supernatural question, but I apologize if you've been asked it a billion times. So Death has a nice palate as far as what he likes to eat.
Yes.
So I want to know what Julian's favorite kind of snack food is, and also, have you had your Chicago deep dish pizza yet here?
Well, okay, so last night I was just, I was talking to some friends right now, and I had pizza last night, and I was going to post it, I was going to post the picture, but it wasn't deep dish. So I felt a bit like an imposter, and that was all that they had, so I thought, well, I was going to go, here I am in Chicago, and I thought, uh-oh, I'm going to get a lot of flack from, is it a Chicagoan? Are you a Chicagoan, if you're from Chicago? From Chicagoans. So I didn't post it. So I have had pizza, true to form, but yeah, it wasn't quite the right one. Julian, what does Julian like? Julian shares a lot of the tastes of death. Julian loves junk food. When I first came to, well, growing up in, England, come on. I mean, pork pies, Scotch eggs. Do you guys know all those? Yeah. Pickled onions, sausage rolls, fish and chips. I think my go-to would honestly be fish and chips with malt vinegar, not with this white stuff, malt vinegar, and lots of salt. Lots of salt. You have to have lots of salt. What else do I like? I'd never had deep fried pickle chips before. I'd never had those. That was a discovery to me. And also Mexican food. Coming from the north, it's kind of new to me, and I really like it. And I'd like to experiment more with Mexican food, I think. And what else? Yeah, that about summarizes it. But and mashed potato. Mashed potato, just bangers and mash, sausages and stuck in mashed potato. Something very pleasing about that. I think it's texture as much as anything. When I first went to New York on tour with the theatre company, it was the same time that I came to Chicago, but we came to New York first. There was pizza being served. I'd never really seen pizza, and I thought it was a health food because it had pepper on it. And I could say, it's got vegetables. Oh, because growing up in England, no vegetables allowed. Anyway, thank you. Thanks. Hello.
Hi. So going back to the tradition of not talking about Supernatural, can you talk about your time with the Umbrella Academy on the new season?
Yes, of course, of course. So I was in season 3 of God, it's making it sound like I'm an international traveller. You know, Julian, is he here today? No, he's off on another set somewhere. Because the reality isn't really like that. But I'm rather than being in one show continuously, I do tend to appear in a lot of different ones. One of those was the Umbrella Academy, season 3. And I'd already seen the first 2 seasons, really liked it. And then I got an offer to come and be part of season 3. And I was told right from the get-go, yes, but you're in a hotel, and it's got a very specific purpose. And I think they wanted to warn me that my character didn't really interact with the rest of the cast and go on that sort of time traveling journey. It was more sort of being there as a solid presence. I was fine with that. But the fun of that was that I got to interact with everybody, every character, because I was a hotel manager and they kept coming to me in the hotel and I'd have a little scene here and a little scene there. And I was able to do a sort of a deadpan kind of hotel manager performance. And it was a lot of fun with not much pressure, which is another thing too for an actor. Sometimes you go into shows and you, especially as a character actor, you have like a ton of exposition. You know, you go in and you go, if you're the scientist or something, you go, well, according to NASA, this weapon here is made of blah, 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 blah. And if it reacts with the light and the blah, blah, you know, you have to learn all this technical gibberish, and then you have to deliver it. But with Umbrella Academy, it was all a bunch of lovely little vignettes with all the cast. And the cast, I'm happy to say, very much like with Supernatural, right down the cast list, really friendly and accessible and ready to play, you know.
Excuse me.
What happened? Oh, that's that mysterious bass, I think. I think we were talking about it backstage where there was, oh well, never mind. it's all is good. I'm okay. Anyway, so it was a lot of fun. The season I was into, they introduced a bunch of characters. They introduced the Sparrows. So it was a very hectic season. And I sort of just quietly got on with in the hotel. And a lot of the action stuff passed me by. But I just had a great time. Thank you. All right. Hello.
Hi, I must confess I am going to ask a supernatural question.
Good.
So, when Death dies in the show, you know, he gets replaced by the first Reaper to die. If you could pick anybody to replace you as Death, who would it have been?
You mean within the show or anybody?
Within the show or anybody. Anyone that you thought would have been the best Death.
Oh, my. The best Death. I think it would, I don't know. You know, I'd say one thing, and a lot of people ask me this. I think Lisa is a fantastic Reaper, and I'm very happy that she is so different to me, right? And so, you know, a lot of people call her Death 2 or whatever, but she's Billy, and she's this aspect of death that is just very, very different than me, and yet represents the same power. And I think that's very cool. I think, so I get why there's been that introduction in the show, but who would I do? I'd have to, I'm racking my brains for a funny answer here, you know, somebody that you would never expect to be Death. I think it would have to be somebody very jolly and happy and sort of, like, who could it be? Who's, okay, yes. All right, thanks for the answer. My friends over here have answered for me. Thank you. All right.
Hey there.
Hi.
Every time I turn around, I'm finding you in all these little fun little characters like Cabinet of Curiosities and right. Umbrella Academy. But I was rewatching an older movie, Percy Jackson, and there you were again. Can you tell me about that?
And what was the last bit?
Percy Jackson.
Yeah.
In the Percy Jackson movies. You were in the Percy Jackson movie. Can you tell me about that?
Oh, okay. Not much to say. I mean, I'm very much true to form. I play the ferryman, taking them, you know, surprise, surprise! Who can we get to play that character? I didn't have a lot. That was actually one of those movies where there's more technically going on than your actual line, so you're more worried about, we were on the ferry and it was going through the air and there was special effects and we had to make it look different than it actually was because of course you can't see all the bits working and the wires and all that stuff. So that was one of those shoots where I was really focused on making it look right. Very much like sometimes with the scenes in Supernatural too, getting it back to Supernatural, very, very swiftly, very cleverly here. The food scenes, for instance, are tricky because you have to get the food right. It's like using a very particular prop. And Percy Jackson was the same as that. So I can't remember a lot about the actors with me. All I can remember is being in that barge about like 100 feet in the air, trying to keep my balance and not look scared. So very practical, very, very practical memories. Yeah?
Jay Gable is also on that movie. Did you get to meet him there, or did you meet him through Supernatural?
Didn't meet him there. No, I didn't meet him there. No, that's just the, you know, the way it is. And it's funny that a lot of people think we all know each other if we're in the same movie or TV series, and often we've never even met them in our lives. And in fact, that's the story with Supernatural. I've got to know a lot of these guys here through cons, not through actually shooting the series. Yeah, so thank you. Hello.
Hello. Okay, so maybe I'm just a professional grudge holder, but does it drive you nuts as much as it drives me nuts that Cube came out in 1997 and then Saw was a giant freaking ripoff of it and got way bigger?
That's happened to me a lot. Because no idea, but seriously, like no idea is unique. We all have versions of ideas, like great ideas, and sometimes people copy them and steal them, but often it's because people modify them or they have the same idea, they just take them in a completely different direction. And Cube, this show that I was in, was film students who had no money, but they were trying to do a full-length feature, sci-fi kind of thing, and they're trying to think, how can we make it interesting, and how can we get a set that we're completely in control of and will cost no money in one room? So they came up with this idea of being in a cube, and the cube was this deadly thing that if you took the wrong direction would cut you into cubes. And I was in this movie, and it was a very successful, very good movie, not unlike Saw, which for James Wan was the same thing. It was a production where they had no money, and they did the same thing. They kind of went, okay, how can we create a terrifying movie, light it, get good actors, and get good bang for our buck? Same thing, right? So it's the same sort of creative solution to a problem. I was also in a series called Amazon, which was about 3 years before Lost. Very, very similar. Now, the producers of Lost didn't watch Amazon and go, we can steal that, we can steal this, but it was an indication that those kind of stories were in the public zeitgeist, that they were there, and they just timed it better, right? So yeah, I'm glad that you've seen Cube. It was fun, and I've been working with Vincenzo since then, who's a friend of mine, and we did the Cabinet of the Cabinet of Curiosities recently. He directed that episode. So yeah. Okay, thank you. Hello.
Hi. So besides the amazing death, of course, who is your favorite Supernatural character and why?
Ooh, wow, I don't know. I think Kevin Tran. I like it. It's probably because I like Osric. It's because and I've met Osric so many times doing cons and stuff. I think he's such a cool guy. I like him. You know what I mean? I want him to be my friend. There you go. That's off the top of my head. Hi.
Just because I gotta get this out of the way. My best friend Julian, his favorite character in the show is Death, and he told me when I came here I had to tell you that.
Thank you, Julian.
But I know Jensen, Jared, and Misha are all kind of pranksters. Did they ever play a practical joke on you or a prank on you that really stands out?
They didn't dare. They would have had me wagging my finger and flicking their ears if they tried any of that nonsense. They thought, who is that old guy? Let's leave him well alone. He seems to be struggling with his lines and with trying to coordinate the food. I think we'd best leave him. No, seriously though, they've got a reputation for pranking, but that's generally to keep the energy going. And they're professionals. And so when it's appropriate, sure, you know, there are many incidents that they've had and they've kept people interested and happy and fun, you know, because a long filming day is long. But sometimes certain scenes require more focus if it's a special effect, if there are weapons involved, if there's food involved. You have to actually be focusing on the gag itself, right? So I think that's my explanation anyway, rather than they were scared of me. I don't think they were. Thank you.
Hi, Julian. My name is Stevie.
Hi.
Hello. I love Death, and your entry was iconic. I was kind of wondering if you and Billy's actress collaborated together on Death as the character, like mannerisms, or did you guys kind of take your own direction?
The latter. Very much so, and very important. I think that, because we had to do it true to ourselves, and I think if Lisa had sort of tried to do an homage or copy it or adapt it, I think she would have been restricted. And I find the same thing too if ever I'm doing a role that requires, you know, like playing Death. I didn't sort of look at different deaths and go, oh, I'll take this and that. I think you just have to go with your instinct. But we actually, so we didn't get together and talk about it, but we know each other from different shows prior to Supernatural. So our paths have crossed many times, but funnily enough, not on the convention circuit, because normally it's one of us or the other. But one day we're going to do a double header, and you're going to get both of us on stage. And you better watch out! Thank you. Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
Sorry, I'm really nervous.
Don't be shy. It's all right.
I heard about the campaign to see you as the doctor that happened a while back, and I just wanted to know if you ever had that chance, would you take it?
Well, yeah, of course, this was a campaign for me to be Doctor Who, which I was so flattered. But they got another old white guy instead. Right? What's his name now? Peter Capaldi.
Yes.
And I was never like in the running. I didn't audition, but there was a fan base here in Supernatural that kept petitioning to get Julian Richings to be the next Doctor, which I thought was so cool. And it was great to me because I grew up with that show. I saw the very first one in my grand's house, and I was terrified. I remember actually hiding behind her chair when I watched it, because it was groundbreaking at the time. And yeah, I mean, if you get the chance to do something like that, then yes. Now, it would be life-altering, and I don't know about, like, the role itself would be fun, but the attention and the publicity and all the noise around it, I don't know. I'm used to a pretty regular, easy-going life and being able to go wherever I like, whereas I think that would change rapidly if I played a role like that. So I'm quite happy. So only occasionally do I walk down the street and people go, "Hey, Death!" Whereas I think if I was the Doctor, I'd be just swarmed by people. But it's very flattering anyway. Thank you. Hi.
Hi. So in Supernatural, when you played Death, did he know ahead of time that Dean was going to kill him?
I read the script. Yeah, no, I did. But seriously, I got the script. Like all actors, whether they tell you this or not, it's true. We, especially people like myself who come in as an occasional character, you get the script. And you look towards the end and you go, am I alive? Oh, good, I'm still alive. I've got another episode coming at some point. And so I was reading the script and I went, oh my God. I didn't think they could kill Death. And then sure enough, then the next line is, I think I just killed Death. Oh my God, okay. So it was a bit of a surprise, but I thought, well, you might as well go out with a bang and not a whimper, right? But the funniest one, have we got time still? Yeah. So I was on a show called Heartland. Heartland is a lovely show. It's about a horse farm, right? And it takes place in Alberta in Canada. And there was, it's a bit too wholesome for me because, but I was in the Halloween episode. And I was the neighboring rancher, Mr. Hanley. But I was like the spooky local rancher that everybody thought was abusing the horses. But it turns out in the episode that he's not abusing the horses, he just doesn't have enough money to look after them properly and they're not getting enough food. So he's kind of a sad character. Poor Mr. Hanley. Yeah, and I thought it was a good episode. And then the next season, they invited me back. And there was another episode with Mr. Hanley and his sister. So I'm thinking, oh, they're expanding my plot line. This is great. Maybe, you know, I'll be a regular on this show. Anyway, didn't hear anything. And then about 2 seasons passed, and I thought, oh, wow, okay. Nothing doing. And my daughter said to me, Dad, it's Sunday night. Let's turn on the TV and watch Heartland, see what's going on. And I went, oh, sure, okay. Turn on the TV, and then I see Amber, the lead actress, go, I'm so sorry about what happened to Mr. Hanley. And then cut to an ambulance going down the drive. And I turn to my daughter and I say, I think I'm in that ambulance. And I'm dead. And I'd had a heart attack and died. I didn't know. So that was a more shocking death than the death of Death. Well, I don't know, or equally shocking. So that really was a surprise. That can happen. Anyway, poor Mr. Hanley. Another time. Hello.
Hi. I just wanted to say I absolutely loved you in the Supernatural parody. And I wondered if it was your idea to do the pizza or if that was the Hollywood Show's idea.
It wasn't my idea. I wish I could take credit for it. But no, it was the girls. So, no, they were great and very, very well organized. And on top of it, I was amazed. Right down to, well, I've never really done a thing like that that's to music, right? So it was like, no, wink, 3 seconds later, turn, wink, like and they were really on it. And it was fun, a lot of fun. Thank you. All right. God. Sorry. God. Hello. Well, it's not God, but it's, you know. It's, hi. Well, that was more dramatic than my intro.
What, you don't like charity, Julian?
Yeah, I mean, we were laughing as we left the stage as you talked about the crackling energy that we left in our wake.
Yeah, that was the best one. Fortunately, it's picked up a bit since.
Well,
we good? We good? Yeah.
See, and you're welcome because you can only, we left you at 0, so you can only go up.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, guys.
Now, this man's going to be on stage tonight at karaoke. He's a force of nature. You got to check him out. One of our favorite people, and damn it, he's good in everything he does. Julian Richings, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead. Probably go upstairs, yes. 1877 cars are his. Julian left the stage.
Look at that.
love this bit. Smattering of.
This is.
And then the sympathy applause.
This is like, they're going to be people who are going to say, you're going to leave and you're like, I didn't love the whole thing they did today. And then what's going to happen, there's going to be a groundswell of conversations online talking about the 1877 con. And people are going to like, and then you're going to be able to say, I was there. I was there. If people are like, you were there? Yeah, I was there. Pretty good seats. I was right there. Was it as weird and as crappy as people say it was? You're going to say crappier. It was crappier. Hey, but because you were there. If you weren't here, you can't say that. Nope. You can't say, oh man, it was a complete pile. It was a dumpster fire. They're going to go, were you there? No, I wasn't there. Then what are you talking about? You were here. Here. You saw the train wreck. Saw it. You watched it happen in slow motion. You sat there. You sat, especially you over here, you can see how fucking over it Billy is. Right here, you see it in his eyes. You won't have to wonder. You won't go like, I wonder if Billy enjoyed the bit. No, he didn't enjoy the bit. He was miserable the whole time.
Rich,
you won't have to wonder.
Just commit.
And the breaking news, though, Rich, is that we've heard from the 1877 Cars for Kids people, right? And their donations have not changed at all.
Have not changed at all, exactly. Zero impact. No. Because nobody drove here.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
They can't give away their car.
Yeah, they have not changed one iota.
There is a certain pride you should have in being here for this, to witness it, because other people aren't. Just remember that. Every empty seat here isn't enjoying this. In fairness, neither are you. But they don't have a choice. They don't get to decide to storm out like those people. Smart move. They can't do something else with their time because they've made that decision in advance. We can't ruin your day unless you show up. Then we can ruin your day. Then we can make you feel like you've wasted your money. But you got to give us a chance to screw up.
We're going to leave you all with the gift of an earworm that keeps on giving.
Yeah. You can't, it's really hard to disappoint people from afar. But you get on up here, grab a seat, we'll shit the bed for you. We got you. And don't need to worry. You're not going to go away feeling like this was money well spent. I promise you. So listen, I don't know what's next.
I don't either, Rich.
So you guys keep playing the song. I'll go find out.
How long before somebody rushes the stage? Someone's going to rush the stage and murder us all.
Hey, you know what? I've been doing conventions for about 36 years. I just now realized they put the crap on the screen.
Enjoy your intermission.
So it's intermission. So we're going to take a break. You guys take a break. Try to listen to some other music. Try to get this song out of your head. Come back in here. We'll put it right back in your freaking brain. So don't you worry.